the same slide with you,
Yeah.
which I had shared in the very beginning when I told you that there are 5 kingdoms. Okay? We will do plants, protoctist, animals, fungi, and prokaryote. So we're done with plants. And now we move on to, ये हमने सब कर लिया है. Let's move on to kingdom fungi, fungus, right? So
Yeah.
all fungi, it's first of all, I'll tell you that they are a group of organisms which have some characteristic features, which is why we need a separate kingdom for them. Why do we need a separate kingdom? Their characteristic features are that these organisms can be unicellular or they can be multicellular. Okay? If they are unicellular, so the example which is relevant for you is yeast. Have you ever made a pizza yourself?
No, miss.
No. Ask your mom. Does your mom make homemade pizza?
Yeah, miss, she makes it like on Sundays.
हाँ. तो अब एक दूसरा काम करना. अभी बीच में से मैं जाने की नहीं बोलूंगी कि जाओ किचन में जाओ, because already our time has been spent in talking and all, but that's also necessary. When today's class ends ना, तो आप अपनी mom से पूछो कि ना show me yeast. जरूर उनके किचन में yeast होगा. ठीक है? Yeast होगा, and then you ask her, I want to see this, and you will see कि she will show you something like this. Yellowish white color की छोटे 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 ऐसे दाने होंगे, which
हाँ, yeah, I've seen it.
हाँ, ठीक है. अच्छा, so that's actually a fungus. Now don't freak out that your mom is giving you fungus to eat. This is a healthy fungus.
Yeah.
Right? It's a healthy. And we put it inside the dough so that the dough should rise. We put this yeast in the bread also, to make bread also, and also to make the pizza dough. तो इससे जो है ना डो राइज हो जाता है, and then we can easily make a pizza.
Yeah,
ठीक है?
miss,
एक तो ये हो गया. So
miss, do all breads have yeast?
yes, all of.
Yeah, because like there's this place, Test Kitchen. I don't know if you've heard about it, but
Yes,
they have like
I've heard it.
breads and everything, and my cousin loves it. And when I told him that इसमें yeast डलता है, which is a bacteria, and he didn't know कि it's like a good bacteria, he started freaking out, and he's like, I'm never going there again.
Tell him, my teacher is a doctor, and she knows that a lot about these things, so you can eat it with complete what do you say, satisfaction, right? अच्छा, ठीक है. अब ये तो हो गया unicellular yeast. What was the name of that shop? Test
Kitchen by Okra. So basically एक तो ये bakery type cafe, and then Okra is also by them, which is like a fine dining place, like proper dress code.
I've heard about it. I'll visit it. I'll surely visit it, because somebody else also told me that you must go and buy some
it's on
bread.
Yeah. Bread,
I know.
butter sandwiches, everything is really good, and their iced tea is also really good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's a must try then. Okay, so let's come back. Unicellular fungus and multicellular fungus. Unicellular is yeast and multicellular is mushrooms. We also use mushrooms in pizzas. Acha. And toadstools and puffballs and mold fungi. Acha. Ab isme jo hai na, yeast is of course beneficial for us. Mushrooms also, but not the poisonous ones. But not the puffballs and mold fungi. Mold fungus wo hai, jo you must have seen that whenever you have like an old piece of bread which you forget inside your lunch box. So you must have seen कि उस bread को क्या हो जाता है, black हो जाती है ना?
हाँ, कुछ ऐसा होता है.
हाँ, bluish, blackish. So that's the mold fungus, and that fungus is not good for health. That fungus is actually parasitic. Now, the word parasite means any organism which harms another organism and takes benefit from it. For example, COVID-19 is a parasite, because COVID-19 virus takes benefit from our body. It attacks our cells, and it takes help from our cells to make copies of its cells, and in return it doesn't return the favor to us. In fact, it harms us in return. So from that definition, some fungi are also parasites. I would say not all fungi are parasites, but some of them are parasites, especially the mildew and the ringworm. Ringworm is a type of parasite that grows on the foot of people who don't clean their feet regularly. बहुत moisture में रहते हैं, उनके पाँव socks भी धुले हुए नहीं होते, और सारा दिन shoes उन्होंने पहने हुए होते हैं. So then in them, they have this fungus growing on their feet, which is known as a ringworm. So that's also a parasitic fungus. Now this slide is giving you an idea about what parasites are. So read this definition.
Yes, Miss, I've read it.
So you got to know what is the meaning of a parasite,
Yes, Miss.
right? Acha. Then we move on to what kinds of fungus do you need to know as far as your O-level syllabus is concerned. So if there is a piece of bread, okay, I have made this piece of bread and it becomes stale. So you see these blackish fungi colonies like this, they start growing on the stale piece of bread. If you just pick up, you take a small needle, जैसे आपके पास एक needle हो और आप इस needle से इसको touch करो, and if you touch it, and if you see how this looks like using a magnifying lens, you will see that these fungi or these bread mold are growing like this. They are growing like this.
Yeah.
Okay. बिल्कुल branches की तरह grow हो रहे होते हैं. For example, let me just Google this. So I'll show you a bread mold fungus. So let's look at how the bread mold fungus looks like. So this is how it looks like. You must have seen such breads.
Yes.
Right? And
Yeah.
if I just take a needle, एक छोटी सी needle लेके मैं इसको touch करूं, and if I just magnify it, okay, so this bread mold will look like.
Miss, is it
Bread
using the
mold.
needle necessary?
Yes, of course. Then you will actually sort of contaminate your hand. ठीक
Oh
है?
yeah.
अच्छा. Taking a bread mold and then touching it on the microscope and then looking at how this bread mold actually looks like under a microscope, तो आपको ऐसे नजर आएगा. For example, look, you can see two pictures.
Yeah.
ठीक है? Left hand पे आपको picture नजर आ रही है. There's a bread and which has gone stale. तो उसके ऊपर सारा bread mold grow कर रहा है जो कि multicellular fungus है, right? Now, if I take up this and if I put it थोड़ा सा एक tiny सा part लेके needle से and I put it on the microscope slide and I put a magnifying lens on the microscope, this is what I will see. I will see a branching network of structures. ठीक है? I will see this branching network. एक और picture भी मैं आपको दिखाती हूँ. ऐसे भी नजर आता है. I still remember when I was in grade 10, although I did not do O and A levels, but when I was in grade 10, I've studied from Mama Parsi. So we did, I think, back then schools were much, much better. In fact, even the metric schools were better. That just imagine, I was not in O levels, but I clearly have a vivid memory of my teacher. She gave me a piece of bread, stale bread, जो अपने वो घर से लेके आई थी, right? And she told me, and I think I was in grade 9. Look what expert she made me. She told me कि आप एक needle लो, इस bread mold को थोड़ा सा scrape करो, and then put it on the glass slide, and this is the microscope, इसको focus करके देखो. And then we saw all these structures. अब जिंदगी भर के लिए हमें ये याद रह गया कि this is how a bread mold looks like under a microscope. And you can see these longitudinal structures. Can you see these longitudinal structures? नजर आ रहे हैं?
Yes.
ये जो lines नजर आ रही है, ठीक है?
Yeah.
All these lines, ये एक single line जो है ना, इसका नाम है hypha. Now I have tried to recreate this diagram with my own pen. So this single line or this one is a hypha, and all these together are hyphae. So if I take a bread mold and I put it on a glass slide of the microscope, use my magnifying lens to actually see it, I will see this branching network. बल्कि मुझे ये भी नजर आएगा जैसे कि इस वाले diagram में you can see that these hyphae also have these dark blue balls. Can you see those dark blue balls?
Yes.
ठीक है, जो कि मैंने यहाँ नहीं बनाए, अपने उसमें नहीं बनाए. Let me make it so as to make it more accurate. So I'm making these ball shaped structures and I'll tell you what these balls are. ठीक है, अब एग्जाम में ना कुछ होती है चीजें जो आप करते हैं एंजॉयमेंट के लिए और कुछ होती है जो आप करते हैं मार्क्स के लिए. एंजॉयमेंट के लिए तो हमने कर लिया, क्या कर लिया हमने, ब्रेड की तस्वीर देख ली और फिर हमें अभी नहीं भूलेगा. अब मार्क्स के लिए हमें क्या करना है, ठीक है? फॉर मार्क्स वी हैव टू रिमेंबर दैट दिस thread like structure is known as the hyphae. One single is known as hypha, and every hypha has these structures which are known as sporangium. Remember, उसमें भी sporangium थे.
Yeah, leaf.
Ferns maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Here also we have sporangium, and these each sporangium is full of spores. ठीक है?
Yeah.
So let me make these spores. अच्छा, अब ये तो मैंने एक लो पावर माइक्रोस्कोप लिया है, ठीक है? लेट्स से कि मेरे पास एक बहुत ही हाई पावर माइक्रोस्कोप है, एंड लेट्स से इफ आई एम जूमिंग इनटू, यानी इस पार्ट को बहुत ज्यादा मैंने जूम करके देख लिया, तो फिर मुझे ये नजर आएगा. I will see this. You know what this is? This is actually, I've used a very powerful microscope and I'm zooming into one of the hypha or hyphae. Okay? So
Yeah.
your O level learning outcome is that, and every O level student should know this basic knowledge, which you can see on my screen. And then the student should also know how will this bread mold look like, or how will this hypha or hyphae look like if I use a very, very powerful microscope. So you can see, I'm giving you 2 minutes. Okay? I'm giving you 2 minutes. Look at all these structures, and then
So, Miss, basically this is very similar to a plant cell, and it has a nucleus, it has the central vacuole, it has cytoplasm, it has digested food, enzymes acting so that the process can speed up, and then it also has a cell wall or a hyphal wall. Both of them can be considered the same. It has the cell membrane, and it also has glycogen granulus.
granules.
Oh, granules. Okay, yeah.
Acha. Okay. Now, what made you feel that it looks very much like a plant cell? What was the reason?
Because it has a large central vacuole, it has many small nuclei, and it also has a cell wall and a cell membrane.
Okay.
Because
So,
normal cell में तो आपको
I,
सिर्फ cell membrane मिलता है ना, but in this cell you also have the cell wall.
बिल्कुल सही. Acha. Now, there are some features of the fungus that resembles a plant, and it has some features that resemble an animal cell. The features that resemble a plant is that it has a cell wall and it has a large vacuole. The fact that it has many, many nuclei is not a feature of plants. ठीक है, एनिमल्स में भी इतने नहीं होते मैनी न्यूक्लिया, ये इसका अपना ही स्पेसिफिक फीचर है. ठीक है. अच्छा, the other feature which is very similar to animals is that it has enzymes and it has digested food in its cytoplasm and it has glycogen granules. Glycogen granules kabhi bhi plants mein nahi hote. What are they? They are storehouses of glucose.
Yeah.
Extra glucose molecules. ठीक है. तो इनके पास ग्लाइकोजन ग्रैन्यूल्स है, एंड दिस इज द स्ट्रक्चर. ये है आपकी क्या चीज आप कर रहे हैं अभी हम इस वक्त. वी आर डूइंग दैट पार्ट व्हिच इज अ पार्ट ऑफ योर लर्निंग आउटकम. सो वी शुड नो 3 things. We should know how a bread mold looks like when we use a low power microscope. ठीक है. You should know how a bread mold looks like when you zoom into it, and what are the structures found inside the hypha. This is more than enough. You should also know that basically there are 2 kinds of fungi, unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular में आप एक एग्जांपल याद रखो, yeast. Multicellular में आप ये सारे एग्जांपल्स को याद रखो. तो फंगाई के बारे में this is more than enough. More than enough. ठीक है. अच्छा, एक बस चीज जो मुझे आखिर में बतानी है वो ये कि you said that the fungus has a cell wall, the bread mold has a cell wall, and that's a similarity to the plant. So yes, correct. But there is a difference also. The plant cell wall is made up of cellulose. Okay. The fungal cell wall is made up of a compound known as chitin. And the bacterial cell wall, जो अभी हम नहीं कर रहे. अच्छा चलो अभी बैक्टीरिया को हम रहने देते हैं, बाद में कर लेंगे. But right now, if I just ignore the bacteria and I take into account the differences between the composition of the cell wall of the plant and the fungus, so I would say plant cell wall is made up of
cellulose,
and animal cell wall
chitin.
chitin. ठीक है. ये these are asked in exams, the differences. ठीक है.
Okay.
As I told you, you will never find glycogen granules in the plants. Okay? In plants, if a plant wants to store excess glucose molecules, it will always store them in the form of starch inside the chloroplast. ठीक? लेकिन अगर animals और fungi को excess glucose molecules store करने होंगे, तो they will store it in the form of glycogen granules in the cytoplasm. So to sum up, I can say that the similarity of the fungus with the plant is that both of them have a cell wall. The similarity of a fungus with an animal is that both of them have glycogen granules. Now, let's make a linkage. Aniza, I
Yes.
always teach with making linkage. Let's make a linkage and let's go back to one of the one of the previous slides that we did in which we were doing different kinds of kingdoms. See now, the reason we have so many 5 kingdoms is कि अगर हम fungus को देखें ना, तो fungus has some properties of animals and has some properties of plants. So neither can we completely fit them into this kingdom, nor we can completely fit them into this kingdom, which is why we need a separate kingdom for the fungus. अब समझ में आ रही है बात?
Yes, miss.
ठीक है? So okay, now answer my question. Why do I need a separate kingdom for the bread mold, and why can't I include bread mold into the kingdom plant or kingdom animals? What will be your answer?
Miss, because fungus have features of both plant and animal cells. That's why they cannot be classified under the plants category or animals. So that's why they're classified as fungus separately.
Correct. Correct. Very good. I hope you're not that tired.
No, miss. I only had one
थोड़ा सा
today.
Acha, okay, fine. So we are done with this, and now we move to the third kingdom, and that's the prokaryotic kingdom. ठीक है? अच्छा, prokaryote को अगर आपको एक लफ्ज में याद करना है ना, तो prokaryote means bacteria, right?
Yeah.
It means bacteria, right?
Yeah.
And this kingdom can be divided into 2 kinds of bacteria. One is the normal bacteria, and the other is the blue-green algae. अच्छा, blue-green algae का बस नाम ही याद रखना है. We will not be studying this at all. We will only be studying this typical bacteria. ठीक है? So let me zoom into this diagram. In fact, I'll show you a better diagram. This is a better one. So again, I'm giving you 2 to 3 minutes. You will actually look at each and every labeling. I'm going to ask you lots of questions, and you will also go through my notes. So I'm giving you around 5 minutes to go through this, and then we will have a discussion.
So basically, there's this diagram in which they're basically telling us that the cell wall here, like previously, the cell wall in the fungi was made of I forgot the name of what it was made of. Just 1 second, I wrote somewhere.
Cell wall, peptidoglycan.
Oh yes, it was made of peptidoglycan, but over here it's also made of peptidoglycan. And then there are ribosomes, which are small in size, and they're surrounded by glycogen granules, which contain glucose and other lipids and food reserves as well. Then there are also plasmids, which are circular loops of DNA, and they're used by scientists for genetic modification. And there are other types of DNAs as well. Like there's a strand of chromosomes, and then there's a bacterial chromosome just lying in the middle there, which is also naked DNA.
Let me just explain all this to you. Now look, it's a normal feature of every living cell that it has a nucleus. ठीक है? सबके पास nucleus होता है, and the nucleus is always rounded like this, and inside the nucleus we have the material which is coiled up, and that's the DNA. The only organism, just pay attention to this part, Aniza, the only organisms on this earth, on this planet, which don't have a nuclear membrane like this, in which the DNA is just lying open, khulla, right, is a bacterium. And that's why we call them prokaryotes. The word pro means before, okay? Before. and the word carrion means nucleus. Carrion. So we say bacteria are very ancient organisms, and they were found on this earth even before any organism, any higher complex, animals or any other organisms were found. So they are the simplest of all the organisms. ठीक है, इतने simple कि इनके पास सिर्फ एक cell wall है. They have a cell membrane. They have no proper nuclear membrane like this. They just have a loop of DNA lying open like this. ठीक है? They have tiny dotted structures known as, what are they known as? Yes, Aniza?
Miss ribosomes.
What is the job of the ribosomes?
Miss, that though I forgot, but yeah, I
Come
just
on,
know
now
that.
tell me.
Nice.
Acha, isme nahi likha hua, sorry. So the job of the ribosomes is that they make proteins.
Oh yes, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
They make proteins. They have cytoplasm also, and inside cytoplasm they have glycogen granules, okay, and other granules. And then they have one more thing. कि अपने DNA के अलावा they also have a small circular loop of DNA which is known as a plasmid.
Yeah.
What are their uses? I'm not going to teach you right now because we'll do it when you go to grade 11. ठीक है, उस वक्त हम कर लेंगे, अभी कोई जरूरी नहीं है, right? So yes, and some bacteria also have a tail. This is a tail. This is a flagellum by means of which the bacteria swim. ठीक है? ये जो बैक्टीरिया हमें डायरिया करता है ना, जो हमारे पेट खराब होता है, वॉमिटिंग हो जाती है, this is because of a bacterium that has a tail-like structure by means of which it can swim in water. ठीक है?
Yeah.
Some bacteria also have these structures which are known as pili, and by these pili they can attach to the surface of our intestine. So they are actually very harmful. Bacteria are very, very harmful, and all these bacteria which have these pili or tails, they can cause harm to our body by swimming very fast, by attaching to the cell membrane of our normal cells, especially intestine में जाके चिपक जाते हैं ये, and they destroy our intestinal epithelium, and then we get diarrhea, right?
Yeah.
So what are we doing and why are we doing this? Let's go back. We are doing kingdom prokaryote. In kingdom prokaryote, we studied there can be two kinds of organisms, bacteria and blue-green algae. We will not be doing blue-green algae. We will only be doing the structure or the generalized diagram of a bacterium. Okay? I'll just do one more kingdom with you, and then I will give you a question, and then we are done for today. The third kingdom. How many kingdoms have we done up till now? सबसे पहले कौन सा किया था?
Miss, we did the plants first.
Second?
Second, we did the fungi.
Third?
Miss, the prokaryotes.
And fourth, Protoctist. So we'll finish Protoctist today, and we'll do animal kingdom on Friday. Remember, on Friday we have a class.
Yes, 1 o'clock. Miss,
Right?
you think we just did our prokaryotes, right? And this is a new thing, right? Protoctist.
हाँ, prokaryotes खत्म. अच्छा, Protoctist is also another kingdom. अच्छा, in many textbooks, it's written that if you see an organism and neither it fits into animal kingdom, nor plant kingdom, nor fungal kingdom, then this means it is Protoctist. आसान सा तरीका. So this means के इसके पास सारे mixed features हैं, right?
Yeah.
And the general characteristics you can see in front. They are single-celled. They have a true nucleus. What do you mean by they have a true nucleus?
Miss, that they have like a nucleus which doesn't divide or anything.
True nucleus का मतलब they have a nuclear membrane, and inside the nuclear membrane is the DNA. ठीक है? ये जो बैक्टीरिया है ना, ये रहे बैक्टीरिया. We say कि these don't have a true nucleus. अगर आपको कभी भी DNA ऐसा open नजर आए ना, आप कहेंगे this is not a true nucleus. ठीक है? What about this? Is this a true nucleus? This one?
No.
Yes, it is. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
No, you're right. I should have drawn. Now, is this a true nucleus?
yes.
Acha. Read the characteristics of Protoctist and then summarize it to me.
Okay.
Second. Okay. So we did this today also.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The structure of a fungal hyphae, and then we did the prokaryote. देखो prokaryote के बारे में इतना थोड़ा सा लिखा हुआ है, right?
Yeah.
And then the Protoctist kingdom. Acha, as I told you, Protoctists have many features. They are single celled also.
Yeah.
They have a true nucleus also, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, some of them have chloroplasts also. तो इसका मतलब देखो कितना mixed है कि this is a feature of the animal cell, this is a feature of the plant cell. ठीक है?
Yeah.
अच्छा, these Protoctista are often referred to as unicellular. Examples of unicellular Protoctista are amoeba and paramecium, जो मैंने आपको दिखाया. And as you were getting surprised, but these single-celled animals also can take in, what's your textbook saying? It can take in and digest solid food, and so are animal-like in their feeding, and they may be called unicellular animals.
Yeah.
Okay? And they cause diseases. Let me show you some more Protoctist. Look at this. All these are Protoctist. Amoeba or Buglina.
Buglina.
सब अलग-अलग हैं.
Yeah.
See, this Protoctist has a chloroplast, so it's a plant feature.
Yeah.
This Protoctist has the cilia, which is an animal feature. लेकिन एक चीज सब में common है. All of them have a true nucleus. This also, this also. अच्छा.
Yeah.
Let's do some questions. ठीक है? Question कर लेते हैं, and then our class will end. So,
Miss, we have like 4 minutes left. So do you like want to restart the class or something?
okay, I'll just restart it. Just a minute.